They also wanted to share with you that if you show up for the live stream either tomorrow morning or Wednesday and I'm not here, it's not for lack of trying. I think the weather window is just a brief one, but a monumental one. So I'm going to take you up into a space. The goal is to take you up into a space with me and do a morning guitar ritual from about 4,000 feet. So 1E and 2E and 10 and 12, let's go. A little alpine pond, it's going to be awesome. But I can't remember if there's cell service up there or not. You know, the professional in me would run up there and, you know, do a reconnoiter run and test the signal. I like to get up there early enough to, if I need to run up to another peak, which is another probably an hour and a half worth of climbing, with the guitar and the whole package on the back, it's going to be, you know, it'll be an exciting venture, I think, for someone, probably mostly for me, but it will be a nice new space to check out. And yeah, you know, I don't know what we're doing here. Really, we're doing some, you know, morning rituals for guitar growth, and it's, you know, it's Monday morning, working on the old posture, working on the old, you know, the old finger style, and I'm not sure how important it is to play finger style guitar for some of us, but I think for some others of us, finger style guitar is a complete way of life, right? It's a complete approach to the instrument. Like, we don't pick up the pick because it's it feels like a foreign object, right? So 1E and 2 for attacks for beat, and we're using fingers 1 and 2 and 3 on 10, 11, 12. 2E and TE and go. Went to Graceland yesterday. No way. Very cool. It's one of my favorite albums. Then I can get some of the other finger 2 and finger 3 or finger 2 and 4 stretches, but I just want to just get moving along to multiple digits, and we'll talk about what I have in mind for the actual finger stretch exercises this morning. So I had my heaters turned off in here this over the weekend, and it is just chilly in here for a guitar player. So if you hear the sound in the background, that's the ambient noise of my one of the heat pumps running. So let's go ahead and finger 2, 3, and 4 again. 1E and 2E and 10, 11, we did some wood-fired pizzas here over the weekend. We had some family engagement here this weekend, which was really cool. Sounds like Anthony had a tremendous weekend. I like to work on rhythmic things like that too. You know what I mean? So that stuff sort of helps. I think it helps kind of break up the monotony of the single note line, and it helps to sort of breathe a little bit more opportunity into a otherwise sort of line that might be void of interest. You know, for example, just ascending and descending scales, for example, in a solo. And those rhythmic exercises tend to help us be okay with working one tone at a time. So it's okay to work one tone at a time and exhaust all potential from that one note before moving on to the next note. I mean, there's a one note samba or something. There's some music that's written with melodies only like one note. You know what I mean? So it works. It definitely works, and it can become a wildly popular thing to experience. Let's take another look here and see what's going on. Renato Alvarez, good morning. Alvarez. Good morning, Renato. Good morning, Dee. Good morning. Can't wait to hear from us. Jason's Picking and Pizza grand opening. Make your own dough. Oh yeah, we do our own dough. I have a calculator that where if we wanted to get, let's say we wanted to do the dough in cold proof for 72 hours or something, and then we have a warm proof, and then we have process. But if we needed to have a dough out and ready to get slinging into the fire in 3 hours from the time we make. I've got a calculation where we can add a number of dry, a bit more dry yeast and salt to help that process along. So it's really good. It's really fun, and it's super easy, and it's really busy because and if you don't pay attention, we cook at about 900 degrees, 800 or 900. So I can't have it if I'm cooking with the peel. If I'm throwing the things, slinging the pies with the peel. I can't get caught in conversation because 15 seconds, if I haven't turned it, like, poof, it's done, it's burned. You know what I mean? So I've got to keep it sort of like alive. That whole thing is all focused on getting, delivering good crust. 1E and 2, fingers 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 on 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we'll go ahead and do a nice little stretch after this piece. And I think we might work requests today, I'm not sure. I'm feeling like this might be a request kind of day. If you have like certain things or certain songs you want to work on.
Picking pizza, please. Just a pizza, picking pizza.
So I'm thinking I may leave a little bit more time for that specifically today. I don't do this a whole lot. But if there's enough interest, we might open it up for, 20, maybe 15 or 20 or 30 minutes of request time. And then we'll see if we can work on warming up our ears at the same time. We make like 10 or 15 at a time, you know what I mean? We have like, so everybody's pretty much fed in, 60 seconds and then you get a pizza out. Another 60 seconds to build and then you get a pizza out. 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes for 5. We have one that runs the fire, one that keeps the fire stoked, one that keeps me on the track, one that builds, it's a pretty fun little family occasion. But we haven't done any honey drizzling yet. Let's do that. Good idea. Pistol Pete's picking pizza place. That thing. Wildwood flower, I think, the next one I learned through. Oh, that's a great idea. What a great song. Great piece of music for the guitar. Great piece of repertoire. Let's go ahead and do the stretch 4 and then the kickstand, and we'll go ahead and get right after some stretches. I have a new couple of stretches for you to think about, and sort of a couple of ways to just reimagine how we stretch and what it is we are stretching and how our approach to stretching. 1E and a 2, so you might want to stick around for it, and I know that many of you will. But if you're new here, I'm Jason, and let's do the finger stretch. 1, 2, 3, stretch 4, 9, 10, 11, and stretch up to 13. 1, 2, E, and a 4, go. Yeah. And then we're headed backwards, down the fretboard. Yes, we are. What a darling thing to watch is your crew of fingers sort of paddling through the channel in the morning, the channel of the guitar neck, all of these lanes that we're changing. Yeah. So lanes are changing everywhere we turn, and we're always thinking about leading with, the first finger. In the case of a descending pattern, we're leading from string change to string change with the fourth finger. But in the case of the ascending pattern, the first finger is always running point. And then that one finger, once it initiates the string change, all of the other fingers tend to follow suit and tend to make it to their destinations on time and in good form. Speaking of good form, I just wanted to remind you, this is our, let's not forget about our breathing. let's go ahead and do the kickstand here. We'll start with fingers 1 on fret 8, 10 on, so 1 on 8, 2 on 10, and then we have 10, 11, and 12. We're just basically doing 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Ja, deinen Text finde ich gut, aber die Antwort von denen, ich meine, du hast halt nicht reingeschrieben, Fixhagen, ne? Vielleicht hättest du das machen sollen in den Text, den du da drunter gemacht hast. Genau, ja, aber ich glaube, das wird sich sowieso nicht ändern. Also, ja.
Break out the old pepperoni. And like Ricky from Trailer Park always said, we got the good pepperoni. If you're wondering, if the fingernails are getting there, you're approaching, and hopefully yours, if you are finger styling, if you are using fingernails, hopefully your fingernails live long and prosper. Mine tend to, get there and then they'll break, and so seasons of this kind of playing, when I determine that I'm going full blown, like finger style guitar, I'll probably start with, I tried the lead press on nails, they ruin everything underneath them, and then I don't do that anymore. I tried ping pong balls, and then the best thing that I could find was Pierre Van Suzanne's method, which was the sodium bicarbonate and super glue. Yeah, that's what I found works the best for me. So let's go ahead and stretch. I want to just start with, placing the hand, and we'll start with a little bit of a bend in the elbow, and I'll go ahead and grab, we'll go ahead and we'll pull our fingers back, and then just push into this like you're pushing into a floor or something, so you can determine how much stretch you're going to get by if you straighten your elbow or not. So that's one approach to this. Another approach is, while we're out here, just thinking about, can I turn my arm at all this way? Can I turn my arm at all this way? What am I stretching for different tissues here? So thumb pointing down, active thumb maybe. You have just a quick stretch here, and then another thing that we're going to do is always reciprocate that. So I'm just pressing into my hand and straighten out your elbow if you can, if you want, but we're providing resistance with this hand, the alternate hand. Yes. And then we can, turn that hand around a little bit, just work it and see what we have for area that can benefit and needs to be stretched and worked. So there's like 16 clicks there, 16 clicks here. We'll do the same thing over here. So here we go, push into that. Ooh, yeah. That's good. So yeah, if any of you have any areas that you really wanted to explore, that you, as a group, if you wanted to do, field some fundamentals, or if you wanted to work on some particular song request and break something down, we could think about approaching that today and incorporating it as part of our warm-up ear trick. That will be probably like including ear training. It will include a little bit of transcription, probably, likely, and then we could keep that separate too. I think it's also very important to keep this hour long. And I might not be testing you, but the will of that gets me here every morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time is to trying to counter some of the work that I'm doing on the guitar. That feels good. And so now we're ready. We have our brand new arms. So let's think a little bit about some of the things that we've been working on that we haven't really formed composite synthesis with. We've been pretty much formed communion with fingers 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 as we become, as we move from one finger guitar players, through the chromatic scale, and we descend notes. This may be a good thing. This may be a good time to talk about this, I guess. I haven't really done this as part of a warm-up, and this is a complete fundamental that most of us will overlook for the entire course of our guitar lives. And Nick Vigrick has the insight to break all of his students down, no matter how great we think we are. We met him for the first time. It was, okay, we're going to start over. We're going to push the reset button, and let's imagine that your hand got crushed in the potato bagger, or whatever it is, and you only have one finger. And so what if we started with only one finger? I'm going to still play the guitar. Django Reinhardt had 2. He still played the guitar. He was okay. He wasn't bad. It wasn't all that bad. But I think relearning the chromatic scale, we don't talk much about the actual chromatic scale. We do chromatic style fingerings in the mornings, but we don't actually play the chromatic scale. So I want to show you something that completely changed my life. This completely changed my guitar life. So I start with the open high E string, fret 1, and then fret 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then we descend that pattern 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then open again. This completely changed my life. So I'm starting here. I know that I'm moving a series of pressure, pluck, release, slide. Pressure, pluck, release, slide. Pressure. So 0 obviously requires 0 pressure. 1 requires to press down, and I'm just behind the fret. If I'm back here, I press harder, and I never really get that positive connection that I get when we place our fingers directly behind the fret. Now, if I'm too close to the fret, there's a little bit of a muting problem. But play without error if I'm careful. Pressure, pluck, release. I'm not releasing from the string because that will introduce open, unwanted string noise. But then I release from the string from the fret. So I'm getting familiar with very high levels of detail on the guitar. And 11, pressure, pluck, release, slide. Pressure, pluck, release, slide. Pressure, pluck, release, descent. Pressure, pluck, release, slide. 4 distinct things that happen in a very important sequencing of events. And when we have finger 1 done, we'll use finger 2. So 1 or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we can really listen, we can begin to listen to all of the overtone structure of the guitar, the top and the back and the sides will respond to all of the open strings we're leaving on approach. Up and down with fingers 2. Now we're up and down with finger 3. We're using finger 3, so we have 0, and then you'll notice that as we cycle through the fingertips, the thumb sort of, you can see the thumb following in the jungle here, tracking its prey. So the thumb is sort of staying behind the power finger. So right now, if we're using pressure, pluck, release, slide on the 3rd finger, we're going to be shuffling that thumb forward. Again, what if we only had a 3rd finger left, right? Is it going to be the end for me? I mean, it's going to change my life. Will it be catastrophic? You know, maybe emotionally for a while. Find a good therapist, bang, I'm up and running. I've got my self-worth back, and I've realized, wow, I can still play the guitar. So yeah, I'd like to think I'm still going to be a guitar player. So we'll start with 1 finger, and we'll take this not for granted. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey Raul, thank you very much for that. I mean, it's we're all sort of, I think, offering something different, but I really appreciate hearing that you're expressing that you really enjoy your time here. You know, that's what you tell all the guys. Ah, come on. But I appreciate that. I really do. It's good for me, a person like me, to hear that. You know, certainly appreciate it. So we have, you know, 3rd finger. And this stuff is like no joke. This is literally, this literally changed how I approach the guitar. Like, and I had been playing for like 20 years at the time, right? So, it's hard to explain how important this is, especially when we get to finger number 4 on the fret hand. Okay, so finger number 4 is usually one of those shows that you pay cheap tickets and you have really low expectations of the show, but you needed a place to go just to get your head straight, you know. So you don't really care. But we're going to turn this 4th finger into a world-class performer, you know. What if all I had, it's like it's a whole new story. What if the 4th finger was the only finger I had in order to play the guitar? You bet I'm going to do what I can to strengthen it. Finger is really important. Each finger those, so maybe we don't overlook those. So let's go ahead, because we've gone through all of those patterns with up and down the chromatic. We've ascended and descended the chromatic scale with fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now what we're going to do is create these contiguous fingers systems, right? We have these fingers 1 and 2, and fingers 3 and 4, or 2 and 3, and fingers 3 and 4. And what these are going to do, these are going to absorb. Now we have 2 fingers. These fingers are gone, you know, we have 2 fingers and thumb. We'll start the same chromatic scale, so if you have your eyes closed, it should sound exactly like this. It should sound exactly the same. Okay, so we're going to start with 0, 1, and then since I have 2 fingers, I can capture 2 frets before that position becomes exhausted. Then I transition or switch the position up to the next available note in the chromatic scale, which means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, all so on and so forth, whatever, blah, 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 up to fret 12, 1, 0, 1, 2, and then I can cover frets 3 and 4 in position 3, and then these are little movable mini positions, right? Little mini positions. So we've got this 0, 1, fret 3, position 3. Finger 1 governs fret 5, that's the position 5. Finger 1 governs the position in which we are playing those tones. So 2, 1 on position 10. This descending problem becomes a huge point of clarification. We're going to make descending simple. We're going to not wonder where we're supposed to be, when we're supposed to be there. How do we get there? I'm losing my position, my place. I always watch first finger. First finger it identifies the position, right? So now I'm in position number 11, and I switch quickly back to position number 9, add finger 2, and then descend, switch back to position 7, add finger 2, switch back to position 5, and then 3, and then 1, and then we have fully, in a very organized fashion, descended the chromatic scale on the guitar. Now, you should be able to play this and listen to it with your eyes closed and not be able to tell where the position is being changed. Let's test that out. It's a different technique if we're playing long tones. Then we're going to use fingers 2 and 3. So I'm going to incorporate this into my warm-up routine moving forward. Because this is a hugely important piece of technology to absorb into the guitar practitioner's bloodstream. So question, which position am I playing here? Right, so am I using finger 2? Well, I only have 2 fingers, so now I'm thinking in terms of second finger. So I've started first position with my second finger, and then 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9, 11, and then 11, 9, 7, 5, 3, 1, and then back to 0. Okay, fingers. Now here's the last group of 2 fingers. We have fingers 0, and then 3 and 4. So I'm thinking in terms of fingers 3 and 4 moving still through positions 11, 9, finger 3. This time is a strong finger. 11, let's find the 3rd finger. third finger's on 11, 9, 7, 5, 3, and then 1, and then we finish that section. So we've gone through each individual finger. We were one-fingered guitar players, now we've graduated to becoming two-fingered guitar players. And now what we're going to do is graduate to becoming three-fingered guitar players. And these are contiguous fingers, and we're going to break up the chromatic scale in a single string called the unitar, where we still only have one string, which is the high E string. 1 and 2 and T and go. And you notice that we have three contiguous fingers, whether we're using fingers 1, 2, and 3, or 2, 3, and 4. We have three contiguous fingers, but the next available note in the chromatic scale is now fret number 4. Now it's fret number 7. Now it's fret number 10. So 1 and 2 and T and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so finger 1 dictates the position. 1, 3, no, 4, 7, 10, and then we have 10, 7, watching again where the first finger is. Otherwise, there's no way I'll continue keeping my fingers in line and in order. So 1, position 10, 7, 4, and I'm looking for where the first finger needs to be. So when I'm descending, once again, I'm descending position 10, then I descend, quickly shift to position 7, add all of the other fingers, 9, 8, 7, and then shift to position 4, adding, while I'm in transition, see my fingers are up here, I'm exaggerating this, but when I'm in transition, my fingers are coming back to the fretboard so that I'm ready to continue on with that descending chromatic scale. Fingers 2 and 3 and 4. Let's try that. Next tom-tom triplets with 4 fingers. Good idea. Congratulations on your new guitar, Blues. Yeah, very cool. So fingers 2 and 3 and 4. Let's do the same thing. Chromatic scale still. 1, 2, and here we go. What is the chromatic scale? Fingers position 10, 7, and 4, and then 1. So position 4, finger 1, or finger 2 on position 1, finger 2 on position 4, 7, and then 10. Then, so we've gone through all of the finger 3 finger contiguous groupings. Now we're graduating to becoming 4-finger guitar players. So this is the exercise that really makes the happen for me. Because I have all four fingers, I really enjoy moving these micro mini positions, or these little movable mini positions around the guitar neck. But then if we have a larger format, where we have all of those fingers at work, now I have finger 1 covering fret 1. The next available note in the chromatic scale is 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, and 12. So 9, 5, I'm watching for where my first finger must go in order to get all of my other fingers to. So if I'm in 9th position, I'm descending that chromatic pattern, transition to position 5, throw the 4th finger down. That gives me the continuity of the chromatic pattern, and then position number 1 with all of my fingers down gives me that. So position 9, 5, and then 1, and then that gives us access to all of the guitar. And every string is different, so all of the things that we just did on the high E string, we would likely do on all of the strings, right? So I'm going back to the B string, just starting fresh. I have one string on my guitar, all of the others have been plucked off. I had an eagle come down, mistakenly assumed my guitar was a salmon, grabbed at the string set, pulled up, and realized, whoa, that's not a salmon, dude. That's a guitar. Sorry, boom. Sorry, bad eagle. And then I've got only a B string left. Okay, so that's what happened. It was a bad accident. I couldn't afford to buy new strings, which is, could be the case. And then I have just one string instrument. Or maybe the guitar, the instrument was built with one string on it. There are those out there. So now we're looking at, basically doing the same exercise, but now because we have one string above the B string, it causes us to feel the high E string with the thick part, or in my case, the fat part of my finger, right? So it really causes us to become familiar with the guitar in a different light, in a new light. And what we gain by this is what we're doing is we're taking our gross motor skill and training it to index to, every time we move the hand up and change a position, we're teaching our body, or entire body, how to respond to the guitar, which most of us, we don't, to be honest, most of us don't care. Most of us just don't want to be asked. We don't want to be asked or bothered or whatever. But if you do want to think about the finer parts of the guitar or the deeper parts of the guitar, these are things that we can't get this kind of programming any other way. And most of us don't take the time to understand positional programming, at its root, at its source. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. I've heard great songs written by non-guitar players playing it on guitar, and they make $1 million. So it's just something that is something to be aware of. That's all. Steve Earle's sort of like one of those guys, like a country guy, but you know, he had to move out of Nashville because he's like, you know, way too rebel for, he's too independent, too rebel. He couldn't get work, so he had to move out of town. But, you know, he's a really great songwriter, and he's wrote a song called Me and Eagle, and that, almost every time I listen to it, almost grabs a tear. You know, just to think about the eagle looking down at the river below, and he watched, oh, you gotta check it out, the lyrics are just mind-bogglingly amazing and so clear. It just requires just maybe some closed eyes, good headphones or something like that, but really put yourself in the recording and in the song if you can on the first pass, and then every subsequent pass after that is just really well done, just so well done. It's like, man, somebody wrote that. Come on. All right, so we've got this really cool indexing. We're learning this, indexing our gross motor, our large muscle tissues. And then we're going back to movable MIDI positions. I've got fingers 2 and 4, 1 and 2 on frets 11s, 9, 7, 5, 3, and then 2 or 1, and then fingers 2. And then we want to just take our time. I'm rushing this, but I shouldn't be rushing it.